Hello there and welcome to another informative episode of African Student Voice on AAU TV. As I always say, that we wish to inform, to transform. On this episode, we're looking forward to discuss student leadership and financial management. You know, there's this vicious indiscipline with student leaders of late when it comes to managing finances. They've been charged to properly manage and appropriate. And this has been going on for some time now, and we just can't watch it. On African Student Voices, I'm joined by two student leadership presidents who are here to discuss this issue to the core. What must we do to ensure that student leaders manage finances properly? My name is Ajimon Chudako. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back for the show.
Accra Institute of Technology is a top-notch private university in Ghana. The university offers world-class bachelor's, master's, and PhD degree programs.
IT and management is one of the good courses I think we should offer these days, because I realized that on my years of experience on the IT field, I realized that IT guys find it very difficult to cope with the management aspect. And AIT is giving us the opportunity to do IT and management. We dive into what? Programming. I did HR. I did principal management, and all this one is giving me the opportunity to be able to communicate with my manager. So when we are talking about IT, I know that I'm talking about something technical, and I can also talk about management, which is also another dimension of corporate institution. So with all this, I think AIT is giving us a very nice opportunity.
We are AIT, the University of the Future.
Welcome back to African Student Voice on AAU TV. We always inform to transform, and we're discussing student leadership and financial management. It's very important. Nice people, you're welcome to African Student Voices. I have with me Mr. Samuel Ogunkoya Adebayo, National Association of Nigerian Students in Ghana, President. And also I have with me Mr. Samuel Ampedu Jamina, SRC President, All Nations University. Nice people, you're welcome to African Student Voices.
Thank you very much.
All right, so you're president, so you're in the right position to receive the questions concerning student leaders and financial management.
Sure.
But let's start it from the beginning, you know. Now I understand that campus student leaders have been given the independence they need and have been given that uprise for them to do or run their affairs on their own. Unlike before, that we had management ensuring that they were doing the right thing. Management were now appending their signatures on every check they write, on every account they wish to pursue. But now perhaps there's this full autonomy for them to run their affairs. But this has really caused us a lot when it comes to financial management scandals. And I think there's too much. So take us how things were before when it comes to student leaders managing their affairs under the supervision of management.
Yeah, first, thank you, and good morning to your viewers there.
All right.
To talk about what has been happening in the past in the student leadership, I think they were truly independent in the past.
Okay.
Yeah. But now, I think they've abused the independence. They now see the independence as, what they wanted was freedom. And now I think they've gotten the freedom, and they are not misusing it. Okay. Independence, in the true sense, we have lots of government agencies that are independent.
Sure.
But they are answerable to other agencies. Independent does not mean that nobody checks you. Mm-hmm. Nobody questions you. Okay. But unfortunately, student leaders on campuses, student leaders outside campus, which are national student leaders like myself. I'm not a student leader on campus. I'm a national leader. We have a lot of them here, PUSAG, NOMS, GAPS, and the rest. Everybody now wants freedom. Freedom from checks, freedom from balances, freedom from management, and we are really, really abusing it.
Mm. Well, let me talk to Ampedu about this. Same, the issue of financial management when it comes to students. You know, we've had speculations about student leaders trying to attain or get into office to make money for themselves. Is this true?
I think I would have to be truthful here. Basically, every politician would have the motive of actually allocating, money.
Okay.
Or let's say wealth, or amassing the wealth for themselves. Given the fact that, I think I've spoken about this on a show before, what I call, everybody will call monocracy.
Yeah.
We have a system in society where before you can be elected into power as a politician or as a political leader, everybody needs to be satisfied.
Okay.
And now it's not just about material satisfaction, but it's monetary.
Okay.
So this one wants you to do this for them. Give me this one, give me that, give me that, give me that before I will vote for you. So you realize that we spend a lot of money in the process of becoming, kind of elected.
Sure.
So we get into office, and the whole idea is, even if you are in to serve, you also need to settle your debts because some people actually borrow for their campaign.
Okay.
So you come in office, and you might not necessarily be a corrupt leader, but then you spent, you've made losses. So you want to work, but you want to find nice ways of also trying to kind of cook the books so that you also get something to offset some of the losses you made or like the cost you incurred in your way to becoming a political leader or becoming elected. So I think it's true. It's not for every leader though, but for the majority, they come into office with a mindset, whether intentionally or unintentionally, to actually also get something for themselves.
How much do you think, the maximum or minimum should a student leader who is aspiring to be, let's say, a president spend in a campaign on campus?
Well, I think it's subjective. It varies. So depending on the school you find yourself and the people's exposure to politics, some people are so much exposed to politics such that even giving them, let's say, 300 cedis to vote for you will not be enough because they see themselves as influential and they know what someone who has influence can add to your campaign because of the exposure to politics. So they know themselves, the kind of people they can rally behind them for you. Then they charge you per that. And then you can have a school to where the people are influential though, but they are not exposed to the fact that when you're influential, you can actually kind of earn from it when it comes to politics. So somebody can be influential and just help you in your campaign, not necessarily charge money. Others will not do the same. But I think how much money that needs to be spent by a student political leader who wants to be elected, I think will vary, depending.
And then would you say students, followers, colleagues are the reasons why someone will want to be a student leader, attain office, and perhaps embezzle funds? You are the reason why.
I'll still have to connect to what he just said.
Sure.
Your motive is the most important thing. Your motive drives your actions whilst in office.
Exactly.
My position, for instance, national president of Nigerian students in Ghana, I have access to probably some government offices that not ordinary Nigerians would have access to. So these are so this can be part of the motivation of some of my colleagues who wants to contest for such position. We've had leaderships in the past in the same union whereby it wasn't solving any student problem. All he was doing is to go to Nigeria or visit government. So that shows his motive that he just wanted the office to open political doors for himself.
Sure. Did you spend that much money before you became his president?
Like you said, spending on election depends on wherever you find yourself. In national election, we have Nigerian Nigerian students in different regions. I was there to talk to them about my ambition.
Sure.
I was in Kumasi. I can't count how many times I went to Kumasi. Traveling with my team might be expensive than somebody who was just contesting for presidency of one campus in Accra.
Exactly.
You find yourself just doing posters and talking to people.
Yeah.
So that is relative. So you can't just put. So national presidency is different. Even in just student presidency, the money you spend becoming the president of University of Ghana SRC is different from the money you spend becoming president of Domino University or Zenith University. So the competition is different. The factors are different.
The environment is totally
different. The environment
different.
is totally different. Politicians are interested in who becomes the SRC president of GIMPA, who becomes the SRC president of KNEST, who becomes the SRC president of University of Ghana. But politicians might not be necessarily interested in who becomes the SRC president of maybe Northford University.
Yeah.
So these are the factors. So when you are competing against somebody who has a political backing, you want to spend more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not because you want to spend for yourself sometimes. You want to spend just to beat that system that if this guy becomes the president, we'll be in trouble.
That's the issue.
Would you want to say student leaders are corrupted right at the moment they decide to become student leaders?
No, I think that's not true.
Because they are tempted by these political parties with so much offers, financial offers.
I think there are some who are actually pushed. There are some, I know people who are, right from the onset, they are, let's say, involved in TESCON and TAIN and all the other political parties. And then they might not necessarily have the notion of contesting for a political office in the school. But then the mother body, the political mother body they belong to, can actually push them, just like I was saying, for their interest. So let's say University of Ghana. And I like the point he made that the environment in every school is different. That politicians might be interested in someone the person who becomes president, or SSC president, let's say, in University of Ghana, than the person who becomes SSC president, probably in my school, given the fact that UG has the numbers. See, politics is numbers. It's the masses we are looking for. So then the point is, the next SSC election for, let's say, University of Ghana, NDC will be interested, NDC will be, MPP will be interested. The reason, given the reason that election will feed into the 2020 election, that is in December. So then let's put someone we think can fight for our interest, or someone we can actually use to infiltrate the system. You get? So they basically will, somebody might not even have the mindset of going for kind of, let's say, political office. But then the person, if depending on the dictates of the school when it comes to who becomes president. Let's say the person might have a CCP of this, the person might be this. They might not necessarily find, let's say, somebody who they want. So somebody might be there, a student who is such as good as meets all the criteria of the school. But then because the person is an MPP person or an NDC person, they can go pick the person. Because probably the person they even want might not meet the criteria.
You know, Sam, the issue is, whatever political leaders we want to do, I think that must guarantee you to financially embezzle something. That's the issue right here. It's about the embezzlement you cause. They don't actually inspire you to do that.
You know,
but at the end of the day, you can't account for this and that and that. That is the question.
Yeah, your personality influences everything.
Exactly.
So irrespective of the pressure coming from the political parties, from your management, you still have, the onus still lies on you to do the right thing.
Yes. So
whether you are a campus leader or a national leader. And in national leadership, you should have the primary objective that you are an activist group, you are a pressure group.
Exactly.
If you have compromised all your fundamental grounds, then you would mess up. Something happened not too long, about 2 months ago. We wrote a letter to an organization to have access to their director to be able to discuss some things. And we didn't get a response for some weeks. And we needed that thing instantly. So later on, when I met the person, in fact, the meeting was no more necessary. And I told the person, I said something to the person. I said, writing a letter to you was just a form of respect. Sure. If I want your attention, I will get it instantly in a day. Yeah. You know why? If I gather 1,000 students at SECO,
easy,
making noise, you will get to that place. Easy. Whether you are, if you're in a plane, you will come back because nobody wants chaos. Yeah. That is what student leaders. Those are the kind of power we wield. We can get anybody's attention. Sure. And that is why some of these politicians want to just keep us at bay. Like, you know what? I don't want University of Ghana, 5,000 students from University of Ghana
on the streets
coming to the government house to make a noise.
The issues right now, as if we are trying to leave the issue. The point is, when you assume office, you are having your own core values to work with.
Yes.
You have your purpose at hand.
Yes.
Why do we always record issues like, at the end of the period, you were not able to account for A, B, and C?
You know, accountability is the hallmark of leadership.
Sure.
If you are not somebody who is accountable, you would be a terrible student leader.
I tell you.
Because you will be afraid of the system. And if you are somebody who is afraid of the system, then you will collapse your entire administration.
Sure.
Not only, even in finance, there are some decisions you need to make. But when you're afraid of carrying your team along, you're afraid of being responsible to the GA, because all these student leaders we're talking about there, it's not just about the SRC presidency. SRC president is just the leader of the executive branch. There is the parliament branch that is supposed to check what the SRC president does. There is a budget, defense, and others.
So when we talk about these bodies, we have a student parliament that most as a Senate body that agree. They have the power to agree whatever you propose to the House. They scrutinize it. They see the essence of it.
Yes. Exactly.
And they agree.
Yes.
Exactly.
All these people are there. We have also the team itself, made up of the secretary, the vice president,
treasurer,
auditor in it.
Yes. Sure.
All these people are mandated to ensure the welfare of students.
Sure. Yes.
At the end of the day, we still must sit and accuse, or perhaps the auditor must still come and realize that some monies were not accounted for. Yeah. Where, or let's say, who is in charge of supervision when it comes to that? Or before we talk about that, let's go for a quick pause. When we come back, we'll be discussing which institution far as student leadership is concerned, is in charge of supervising the day-to-day decisions of these leaders and how well they are carried out. Don't go and I'll be right back.
I feel lucky because I always wanted to travel around the world, but that seems to be sometimes hard. And this place brings the majority, like the totality of the continent in here. And I feel lucky for that because it brings you more opportunity, more insight, more culture, more understanding for other people.
ALU Rwanda has definitely been community. Just learning to be there for other people and allow people to be there for you even when it seems tough. That has been a big lesson for me, and I feel that this is the one thing that I would definitely love to carry home. To always not judge people and just be open for people, be around, be there, simply.
I feel like ALU was the school destined for me. I've always known about the state of the continent from a very theoretical standpoint. And I feel like ALU is the school that was going to offer a unique perspective and unique understanding of the state of the continent as it is now.
Coming from Ethiopia and also coming straight from high school, and to get this quality education, world-class education, that's why I feel really lucky to be part of LU.
Now that I'm finally here, I get the opportunity to specialize and understand certain aspects of the continent, like education, urbanization, job creation, and the likes. I'm really excited to be here because I finally get the opportunity to not only get all these things from a theoretical, broad standpoint, but then to narrow all these things down to what exactly needs to be done for the benefits of the continent.
Finding yourself in a diverse community of around 38 countries, it's quite interesting. I personally love it, I enjoy it. When you read on the logo where they say we do hard things, it's actually true. You're not going to be disappointed. To me, gradually, I'll say ALU was a dream come true.
Coming to ALU was so unexpected. For me, it was like a dream come true, like something unexpected, but I feel like I'm in the right place.
Oh yeah, welcome back to African Student Voice on AETV. We want to inform, transform students and youth of Africa. That's what we're doing this. And today's topic is student leadership and financial management. This is quite controversial when it comes to discussion. And student leaders really want to just shift the blame to someone else somewhere. It is about yourself.
Exactly.
You are in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have institutions to support you do the right thing.
Yeah.
So let's take it through the students' parliament on campus. And what role do they play to prevent financial mismanagement? Ade, this is to you.
Okay, this is to me. Because when you mention parliament,
Yeah, we'll come to
for sure. See, the systems are in place to make everybody responsible.
Yeah.
To make sure that everybody is independent, but you are accountable.
Exactly.
Yes. The General Assemblies are there. You've mentioned several others.
What do they do? When we go to that Senate meeting, what do we do?
Yeah, the Senate meeting is where the executive branch gives a feedback. And who heads the executive branch is the president. The president gives a report of some of these mismanagement are not even coming from the president himself. But because he's in charge, he's the head.
He's the head.
So your financial secretary misbehaves financially, you need to be responsible. Your secretary does something that... So the president gives the feedback to that General Assembly. General Assembly has more numbers. Students are represented.
Exactly.
Departmental heads are represented. Ordinary students are even there to observe. So you give your feedback on a regular basis. And when you give the feedback, you are now scrutinized. You are asked uncomfortable questions. You understand? You are asked uncomfortable questions. You give your precise answers to these questions. Why do you want this money? I was talking to a student leader yesterday, and the person told me that he was defending his budget. I talked to him around 10 a.m. I left the place around 4 p.m. So that is the kind of work that goes on in there.
Exactly.
The speaker was scrutinizing the president for 6 hours without a break.
Figure.
Yes, figures after figures. But at the end of this day, sometimes we still have misappropriation of funds. That is where we have issues with individuals who are in charge. It's not just the institutions. Institutions are there, they are there to do the job. But how effective are the individuals doing this job? That is the issue.
So, I mean, we can have institutions all as much as we can. What key ethical principle must student leaders really imbibe to help prevent financial discipline?
I think our personal integrity should, in a way, influence our decisions.
Sure.
And the things we stand for. You see, before fraud can occur, basically there are 3 factors. And I'll just take a look at two. The first one is there's pressure, and then there's opportunity too.
Okay.
Pressure would always come as a student leader. You would always have pressure because you see sometimes even your students, your colleagues in other schools who are presidents also, the kind of lifestyle they are living, the kind of things they are entitled to, and look at your school, you're not enjoying the same thing. You are pushed to somehow also find your way to live that kind of lifestyle. Okay. And then the opportunity to commit fraud is where I have a problem. When an individual finds out that there's a system that's supposed to make me responsible and accountable, but I can find my way to still corrupt that system, then that's where the problem is. So there is a Speaker of Parliament, a friend of mine once told me that if you want to be a corrupt leader, you want to embezzle funds, there are 4 people who should be your friend. Okay. Or let me say 3. The president becomes the 4th person. So the SSC president himself, the Speaker of the General Assembly, the head of the audit committee, and the financial controller of the SRC. If these 4 people come together, they can embezzle funds, and even the school's management will find it difficult to actually trace where there was actual corruption. Yeah. So then these 4 people become dangerous in the SRC. But then the point is, we have been elected as student leaders. We came to accomplish, we came to serve.
Sure.
You see, posterity is looking, and they are the judge of what we do today.
Yes.
Then, if you have this in mind, and you are a person who is conscious of your integrity, knowing that your position today is just a stepping stone of what you might or can become tomorrow. We are preparing for tomorrow, and that's one issue I have with our generation. We are usually not futuristic. Okay. We don't really look into the future. We want it right now and then. So we spend money today without thinking of the consequences that might follow us. Tomorrow. So we just want to do everything today. Spend money today, embezzle funds today, do this today, and thinking that tomorrow it won't hunt us. And I blame society too, because we don't punish people. Ghana, Africa, and even sometimes Europe, we don't usually punish politicians for things they do wrong. And that's where the political infiltration also comes in. Someone embezzles funds, and because the person belongs to MPP, the school can't usually touch the person, because you have politicians phoning in. That's our boy. Don't touch him.
Minimize on the parties. We actually talk about student leaders here.
I know. So then I think we owe it to ourselves and the people who voted us into power. Yeah. Exactly. And then the people also owe it to themselves to hold us accountable. You see? And that's why Parliament will always have the oversight role of ensuring that budget prepared is such that there's no loophole where the executive, or let's say the president, the SSC president can actually embezzle funds. So they scrutinize or they critique the budget, said that you cannot even embezzle even 1 cedi. And that's what I'm saying, that I have a Speaker of Parliament in my school who is very diligent in his work. And because of him, there's no opportunity. You see, so even if there's pressure for me to commit fraud, there's no opportunity. So I just can't commit fraud. You understand? So if, just like you said, if the individuals in charge of these institutions will diligently do their work, even if one person, it's a team, it's a process, even if one person wants to commit fraud or embezzle funds, and the other says that I won't allow this, it will still not happen. But then, just like we are saying, we owe it to ourselves as student leaders to be as truthful and accountable as we can be, because posterity is watching. Tomorrow will judge all of us.
So what are some of the issues we can say are the aftermath? If you were a student leader now and then perhaps you can't account for this amount of money, what are some of the things that you should be looking ahead of you, leaving that kind of record behind?
I said, always observe the precedents. Always check what happened in the past so that you can at least adjust yourself for the future. But in this part of the world, it has not really been encouraging. When you check the thieves of the past, let me call them thieves. The thieves of the past are now the actual leaders of now. We had student leaders in the past that has been confirmed to be corrupt. They are now the MPs, they are now the governors, like in my country. So you've had people who are actually indicted for fraud, for financial misappropriation, who are now your leaders in the society. So it's like the society celebrates thieves.
That's the point I made. So we don't punish.
So the student leaders know that if I steal this money, the only pressure is 2 headlines in a week, newspaper,
and
the radio,
it's washed away.
And that's it. And I go to US for 2 years, comes back, I become an MP.
Yeah.
So these are the issues. So there is no a proper system that punish people, not only student leaders.
What do you recommend?
I recommend a system that works. when there should be a serious consequences for financial misappropriation.
Yeah.
It is terrible, especially among the student leaders. Because the reason I so much interested in this kind of issue is that if we are not organized, how can we put pressure on the mainstream politicians?
That is it.
How can we show the MP of my constituency how to be financially accountable when I'm having financial issue in my small institutions? Yeah. And I'm not telling an MP how to run a whole constituency. Exactly. Okay. So these are the problems. But we need individuals with the right capacity, individuals with the right mindset to be in this charge of institutions. Because, we've had issues whereby one president works with a system, is efficient, is effective. A new president comes in, he collapses the entire system. Yeah. So it's not the system that is the problem. It's the individuals who are there. So schools should not just allow vetting to just go on and allow one person, one individual from nowhere to win because of popular vote. No. Everybody should be scrutinized. What is this individual? Check this track record from 100 level. Yeah. If it is a national position like mine, we should be well scrutinized. The schools are even better. National presidency is way, way, way off. You have national president of whatever union, doing things in the name of the union, signing unnecessary contracts for people, seeking for sponsorship from just everywhere.
Now let's discuss controls. Yeah. We are trying to curb these issues for the good.
Yes.
What are some of the controls you think we should put in place, either national presidency or campus presidency? Yes. What controls should we put in place to prevent financial discipline?
Yes, we should go back to serious accountability, public accountability. Not just you, the president, going to the speaker to analyze to the speaker. Students should be responsible.
Exactly.
You are not, even national president and SRC president, we are all leading students. The young man here is a student, is a president of All Nations University.
Sure.
I'm a national student of Nigerian president, national president of Nigerian student, and I have students on this campus. So the student themselves should be responsible. If you pay a due to a place, you have to ask questions that we want to know when the pressure is coming from the grassroots. The leaders should be responsible. So it's not about the system. The system is in place for us to be responsible, but if we are not responsible, the last line of the fence are the students themselves. So the students have to ask the right questions, not just unnecessary criticism, on structural criticism. Ask questions systematically. This is an educated environment of student environment. Yeah, so it's not like marketplaces where they just, or transport union, it's the students. So you can write your letter to the right places. Mr. President, you said so thing in the last General Assembly, and we've not seen anything like that being done. So can you give so report? But no, students don't want to read. Even when you send them a report, they don't even want to read it.
Sam, what would you say? What should be done? What should be done? How can we prevent these issues for the good?
Yeah, I think just like Adebayo alluded to, the students who voted us into power must start asking for accountability. Okay. Because you see, when the executive comes to read the budget at Parliament, I believe that the representatives who represent their various classes, or let's say their various budgets, should ask the pertinent questions.
Sure.
If there's anything fishy in the budget, you bring it up, and Parliament discusses it. I think Parliament is one powerful tool that if people really understand the fact that they are the ones to actually demand accountability from student leaders, it's one powerful tool that can really check the executive, or let's say the SRC president.
Sure.
Or they're one powerful tool that can really stop embezzlement.
Okay.
And that's Parliament. Okay. Because that's where the people are, the General Assembly. That's where the people are. Yeah. The president cannot go to the classrooms to go and make accountability. No. He can't actually, let's say, visit every school to make accountability.
Yeah.
It is when we meet, as a General Assembly or as an Executive Council, that is where people must start asking the questions. Without favoritism, without any affinity. I know this person, so no. Let's be objective. We came into office for a reason. Sure. We have a mission or a vision to achieve.
All right.
Let's just stick to it, and let's do the needful.
All right. Thank you very much, viewers. Home, I believe you had time to watch. I believe you sent your comments and questions. You've really appreciated the discussion. It's about student leaders and finance management. You realize that student leaders are the future. We will be the ones mounting the platforms for political positions. And if we, in our capacity as students, cannot prove our integrity or cannot actually prove our honesty, then what are we going to prove on the national stage? Africa needs to rise up and train the right leaders to become the right faces to push the continent. My name was Ajima Shudako, and I have Adebayo and Samuel here to discuss this topic. And we believe that you enjoyed it. Keep watching African Student Voices. Keep watching AU TV. We serve in the nation. We wish to inform you, transform the continent. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye.